The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
A roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Welcome to beautiful Oxnard, California. Another practice day for the Dallas Cowboys. This is the Media Mash, our first one of the 2025 season. We got Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram here, former NFL player, former Dallas Cowboy draft pick, three-time Emmy Award winner, and you see him on NFL Network because he's moving on up like the Jeffersons. Isaiah Stanback.
Superstar.
Good joy, Elizabeth.
Yes, yeah, you in Los Angeles. This is the perfect place to do all that. So, let's start with Tuesday. Okay, let's work our way back to Tuesday to now.
You sure you want to do that?
Yeah, I do. I do. That's why you're here. That's why we're doing this show. And the Rams came to town, and the Rams, that was it. The Rams put in that work on them.
Yeah, they did.
So, Nick, you tell me your initial thoughts in what you saw. Coach Schottenheimer said we were vanilla.
Yeah.
But hit me.
And I'm glad he said that because I expected that going in. So that's why I was looking mainly at trench work. Because trench work, it doesn't matter if you're vanilla, doesn't matter if you're chocolate strawberry, it doesn't matter. It's those one-on-one matchups, the intensity in the trenches, that still shows up at the end of the day in these joint practices. That's not what I saw on both sides of the ball, especially in the run game. I started on the offensive side for the Cowboys, and it was Jared Verse just blowing things up, multiple tackles for loss in the early team periods, and then I switched over to the defensive side, and it was much the same thing, especially in the defensive interior. There was no push generated up front by those guys. The only defensive tackle that I really saw showing up was Perrion Winfrey, which is not a good sign. And there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to take away from that. But when you preach having a physical camp, when you preach having this intensity that you want to bring to the field, and then a Rams team comes in here and just overpowers you physically, it's a little concerning. I don't know if there's any red flags you can take away from a joint practice this early in the season, this early in camp. But I think there are some things that you can say, that's not a good sign going towards the season.
Media Mash brought to you by Tostitos. All right, Isaiah, stand back. You and I chatted a little bit during that practice with the Rams, and so give me your takeaways.
Let me preface my comments first by saying we can't get in there and really watch the film, the nitty-gritty, the way in which we would during the normal season. We don't have access to that film. But so we are really basing a lot of our comments off of what we just saw, right? And you're looking at 22 guys going at it all at one time, so you miss some things. But from what I saw, like to your point, Nick, the Rams won the trenches. Hands down, won the trenches. That's where my eyes went as well. I spent about 70% on Dallas Cowboys defensive side of the field. I mean, I really just try to get an idea of what this defensive front was going to look like, because that's something that I pay a lot of attention to, because we've seen this defensive end room kind of get turned on its head in a good way. There seemingly is a lot of depth. They seemingly have had a lot of success against our offense during training camp. That's not what I saw when I saw them versus the Rams. I felt like all of the guys on the defensive front who had all these moves and grooves that were doing things against our offensive tackles and guards, I felt like they got neuralized. Whatever happened in Men in Black, somebody came up, neuralized them, and they forgot all their moves. Yeah. Everybody went to a bull rush. Everybody went to the one hand to the middle of the chest. They were playing right down the center of guys. They were getting washed out outside the tackle box. And the quarterbacks, Stetson Bennett and Jimmy Garoppolo, they all had the time that they needed to sit back there, bake a cake and throw the ball to Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, Kennington, whoever they want to throw the ball to, they had time to do so. So the defensive front did not get a push. The defensive backs, yes, there's a lot of new concepts. Yes, they're running very basic vanilla coverages, but reactionary time, technique, breaks on the ball, all that kind of stuff, those things stand true regardless of how vanilla you are. And I felt like our DBs were a little bit late out their breaks. They were seeing things develop slowly, even though they're in real time were happening fast. Offensively, I didn't get a lot of time to see what was taking place, but I did see some splash plays when our guys had time to throw the ball. Whenever there was a pocket that was created, our receivers were winning those one-on-one matchups. That was something that was encouraging to see. When time was created for the quarterbacks, receivers had time. They were able actually to get open. Other than that, special teams, I was very satisfied with what I saw there. I know it's not a popular topic, but you have Kevontae Turpin, who's an All-Pro. You have BA who's Brandon Aubrey, who's an All-Pro, and you have another BA who was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago. I think that you have an opportunity, and again, I know this is not a sexy topic, to have a clean sweep with these guys in the NFC in terms of being the best at their position groups: returner, punter, kicker. Not the sexiest thing, not what people want to hear, but I think that that's probably one of the greatest strengths of your team right now.
In a new staff, you can take some comfort in that. In special teams, three phases, you want to win that phase. And having those three specialists out there, Parcells, when he was here, was very big on special teams. So I've learned not to take that for granted. And Isaiah, you made your bread and butter too in terms of having to play on special teams to make teams. So that being a positive, especially in a practice where the Cowboys were more down than up. And Brian Schottenheimer, I give him credit. He didn't try to sugarcoat it in terms of we weren't good. Now, he did say, we were vanilla, but I was like, I didn't know if they were actually running out there with mint chocolate chip. Yeah. Maybe they went vanilla, but they do that French on there. And they gave you that French vanilla. And I looked up, I was like, who's 13? You look at I was like, Stetson, the little dude from Georgia who wasn't supposed to make it. I mean, he's out there looking like a surgeon.
Dicing him up.
I was like, whoa.
So they threw 5 picks in the preseason game last year.
Right. So I'm like, okay, things have changed. And so go to yesterday. We got to talk to the defensive coaches and the offensive coaches. And Aaron Whitecotton, and both of us were there. When it came defensive time, it was a swarm around Aaron Whitecotton because people wanted to know, and legitimately, hey, man, what had happened?
Did he say what had happened was?
He basically, I give them credit. They kind of had the company line down of pad level, eyes, we need to be better. So I asked Coach Whitecott, what do you need to see come Saturday? And he spoke about they run a different front. Not different, but they said on defense. Schottenheimer talked about the defense different front, and the offensive line coach about seeing things differently there. But defensive line, he said, hey, look, the way they're lining up at gaps, we've got to do things different. So they're using it as a teaching tool, is what he said, and his expectation. So that's, to me, what I'll be looking forward to seeing come Saturday is how do they make their adjustments. You've got a little bit on film to see now, and if they come up with the same things, how do you handle it?
Yeah, Schottenheimer has built this program off of their identity being, hey, we're going to be physical, we're going to run the football, we're going to stop the run. We didn't see that on Tuesday. Yeah. So you would hope to see some improvement. You don't have to flip it on a head and be 100% successful on Saturday, but you need to see improvement on Saturday. And if you don't, that's when you start putting up the red flags, I think.
But shout out to Shotty as well. You see what I did there? Shout out to Shotty. I respect him for how he responded to the media. Because you see him, he's probably one of the most bubbly, outspoken, accessible coaches that I think we've seen in some time in the media. And you saw his mood change, really, when post-practice, when he had to address the media. But he owned it. He said, they got the best of us. He also admitted the things that you brought up, Newy, in terms of pad level and being vanilla and all that stuff. But football's football, which is why you hear these coaches speaking to mental errors. There's no excuse for that. You hear these coaches talking about pad level. Right. There's no excuse for that. So those are things that are all correctable and that you can't make excuses for. But he also sat up there and said, I got frustrated. And he said, I took some shots and I ran some plays that I didn't anticipate running because I didn't want them to see it. But when you're frustrated and you're getting punched in your mouth, you want to punch somebody back in their mouth, right? Which is why he called the deep bomb to Jalen Brooks from, with Joe Milton. Those are things that he was like, he admittedly said, I wasn't supposed to do that, but I was frustrated.
That ball went 30 feet in the air.
I'm tired of vanilla. Let's put some chocolate.
Let's put some chocolate in that thing.
Syrup on that thing, man. Joe, put that syrup on that. Go unleash one. Yeah.
And he said it again. He said, we plan to be vanilla in the preseason. Yeah. And he made a joke about it, unless I get frustrated.
So, Isaiah, this is one of the things I love about doing the Media Mash and working with former players. So explain pad level to people who may not understand the term.
Correct. So both on the offensive line, there's really is at every position, but especially in the trenches, like Nick was saying, low man wins. Everybody's heard that terminology, and you might not understand what that means. Low man in football means that I can control you if I'm underneath you. It is very hard to be powerful and strong when you're standing vertical. So the lowest man has the greatest foundation, which means he has the most strength. So when you're an offensive lineman and you're trying to get underneath a defensive lineman, if I am underneath him, I have a better chance of being able to hold my point, which means I don't get pushed back into the hole, which means I don't get pushed back into my quarterback, and I can most likely drive him opposing direction so that we can get the yards that we need, or we can keep him at bay. On the defensive front, if I'm a defensive lineman and I am too high, I'm probably going to get lifted up like the Lion King, okay, like Rafiki.
Throw it out
of the club, Jazzy Jeff out the front door. And we saw, I don't want to point it out, but because I like the young man, Damone Clark is one of my young bulls.
I was going to bring this up too. Yeah,
I love DC. I love DC, but it's out there. It's out there. You know what I'm saying? The video's out there. He came in on
4K, my guy.
Listen, on 4K, 8K, whatever, 1080p, 720, 480, whatever you want to have. Okay, it's for y'all that still have flip phones. DC came in on a blitz. Kyron Williams identified him as the blitzer. Kyron Williams had the right pad level and was underneath him. So we talk about pad level. Damone Clark, I don't know whether or not he was still in the mindset of where this isn't a game, so I'm coming, I'm showing that I'm blitzing, but I'm going to pull off. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what he would say. But Kyron Williams was of the mindset of this is live practice.
About to get this work.
I'm about to protect my quarterback. You about to get this work. And Kyron Williams dropped his hips, dropped his pad level, got underneath Damone Clark, even though Damone Clark is a larger human, and lifted him up and put him on his back and patted him on his chest and said, go on, come back another day, player.
Yeah. It was tough.
The video.
He blessed him.
It was tough.
The comments. The comments on the video. Man.
Yeah.
It was funny because he was coming off the field. He's like, that's on Twitter, right? And I was like, yeah. So,
who said that?
Damone Clark.
And you know this man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody saw it. But Schottenheimer owned it.
Yeah.
Said we'll get better. We'll coach from it. Then he spoke about, hey, you're not going to get to the Super Bowl today.
Yeah.
So one thing I will, and we all have our friends who will come and ask you, what are you seeing out there? And they'll hit panic mode. It's still a new coaching staff. They're still coaching these guys, seeing exactly what they want. And this, to me, is their opportunity to get better, coach better. Guys, this is what we saw. This is what we need to do. Let's take this into Saturday. So that, to me, is going to be the keys, especially up front. What do we see up front? Are you still getting bullied, punched in the mouth come Saturday in Los Angeles, or are you going to fight back and make this competitive?
Yeah, I agree, and I think from a quarterback standpoint, you loved what you saw from Joe Milton before he had his thumb injury. If he can translate that into Saturday as well, then you're going to have some success in the pass game offensively. He was finding multiple guys, whether it was the Jalen Brooks big bomb, he got Turpin involved. We don't know if Turpin will necessarily play on Saturday, but throughout these last couple of practices here at camp, Joe Milton started to stack a couple of good days, so that's a good sign for Saturday.
All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, key player that we're looking for from each of you, a performance that you want to say, hey, look, I'm paying attention to this player on Saturday against the Rams for the Cowboys. This is the Players Lounge brought to you by Tostitos on DallasCowboys.com radio.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together, we cry together, and we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Back to Media Mash.
All right, you are on the Media Mash. I was about to say the other show, the other podcast that I do, the Players Lounge, but that's later on today, coming up at 2 p.m. Central Time. But we're out here right now at Oxnard, California, on the practice field for the Media Mash. Brought to you by Tostitos. We finally got ourselves a sponsor.
Hey, man.
I mean,
we're up this year.
Yeah.
We are up this year.
That sound is such, it's like, you know what you're getting. You know, you can have this a blind test, and you just know that you got some Tostitos right there. It just sound like Tostitos.
So you're still an athlete, so you know you don't indulge like I indulge. I mean, no, I'm an indulger, man.
I partake from time to time. You know, I try to watch my figure.
He partakes. We're in the trenches with it, though.
I'm dedicated. I'm dedicated. And it's football season, so I'm dedicated to the game. So I'll make my own. I'll smoke my own meat, cook my own meat, get some. So I'm dedicated to the game like that. Cowboys' first preseason game coming up Saturday in beautiful SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California here.
I'm hoping we get some AC this year. You know,
it was hot last year.
They built a multi-billion-dollar stadium. I love the stadium. It's beautiful. It's next to my other workplace. And there's no air. There's no air. I was in there hot, sweating.
I'll tell you what's worse. I've been in there when it's worse. The national championship game in which Stetson Bennett tore up TCU.
Yeah. All those bodies in there?
It rained.
Oh, coming in sideways.
And it was cold.
Oh.
So it's January.
Yeah.
So it's cold in LA.
It's an indoor stadium.
Yeah, it's cold, it's raining. And it is on us, pelting us. They gave us blankets, sheets were wet. And by the second quarter the game was over. And I told my photographer, I'm going to watch the rest of the game.
Press box.
No, not in the press box. In the bowels of the stadium, because we got to go do interviews afterwards. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to.
You watched it on the monitor?
Yes, on TV right there. Yes, I did. I watched it on TV because it was over. Right. It was like 65-13, and so I understand we say it was hot. But cold and wet, you played New England. Cold and wet ain't good.
It's strange. The way that stadium is built, the ground level is on the concourse. Yep. And so the ground level is great because you have that breeze coming through and it's beautiful. But when you're on that field level,
drop down.
All you have is that glass ceiling above you, and you're just getting cooked. It's like just a big oven. Basically.
And there's no air conditioning.
There's no air circulating on the field, so that air is just going right over the top of you, about 20 feet in the air, and you're not feeling any of that.
And there's
so
no air
I couldn't imagine playing on that field in the middle of the day. Not me.
Well, wait till the Olympics come.
So if y'all see
world-class athletes have issues with things at the Olympics.
So if y'all see our suits sweated out, you guys have the information y'all need to understand to justify why we're sweating through our suits.
Phenomenal stadium. Other than that, it's not even a small issue. I think it's a
big old issue. Saturday, who needs a Tostitos epic performance, Nick?
I'm going to go with Jaden Blue. Jaden Blue has had a phenomenal camp here in Oxnard. This running back competition, you could call it a competition up to this point, but you really can't start to decipher these guys until they are in a live game environment. There's only so much that you could take away from the running back position here at camp because you can't tackle, you can't bring them down. It's more thudding rather than hitting. And, these guys are going to have to read between the tackles a little bit more pure on Saturday in a game environment. I want to see how Jaden Blue attacks that. He's had a good camp out here. He's shown good things, but if that can translate into, let's say, if he gets 8 carries, if he can turn that into 50 yards and get a score, then that'd be an encouraging performance.
I believe that I'm gonna go to the defensive side because the easy answer would be Joe Milton for me. There's a lot that I need to see from him, but on the defensive side, I want to see Donovan Ezraku. I want to say him, and I want to say. I want to say Sam Williams. I'm going to say both of those guys. I'm going to steal that combination of those guys. I believe that you need to know what you have opposite of Micah. And I know that's a bad word around here right now, but he will be there come the season. No question about it. They'll figure out whatever needs to be figured out. But you need to know who's going to be playing opposite him aside from Dante Fowler Jr.
Do you have questions there?
About Ezraku and Sam Williams?
Yeah.
I want to know what they truly are. I want to know that they're not I want to know that Sam Williams is not just a bull rusher. I want to know that Donovan Ezraku is not going to get neuralized like he did against the Rams, right? He's a young guy. We know what he's capable of, but I want to see it in the game at the professional level. So I want to get a boat of confidence with both of those individuals, somebody who hasn't been on the field because due to injuries, and somebody who's fresh to the NFL, who's young. I want to see, can you go 2 layers, can you go 2 or 3 rotations deep with your defensive ends when the season comes and presents itself, right? How nasty can Matt Eberflus get with these fronts and personnel groupings, and how much trouble can he provide to the offensive line and their protections? You need to know. What are these guys? What capabilities do they possess?
For me, it's the offensive line. When Shadi comes as the head coach, his press conferences, we're going to be a running football team. We're going to be physical here. The Cowboys are basically out here to put in 2 more rookies. With Booker and Thomas. And Thomas didn't play last year. So this is basically in a rookie year. So we saw what the issues were last year when they had 2 rookies, and so you're doing it again, and you've got a new offensive line coach who's never coached in the National Football League. I'm going to be very interested to see how this first game looks. Can they give Joe Milton time to throw? Can they open up some holes so we can see something from Jaden Blue? And I fast forward to the first game of the year, which will be Philadelphia. You can't block the Eagles, baby. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
And you know what the history has shown us the last 5 years. You leave that Cowboy defense on the field for 30 minutes plus, you're usually going to find yourself on the losing end of football games. If they're going to protect the defense, they've got to run the football and control the clock. So for me, I'm looking at that offensive. I need it to be elite.
Yeah.
I need them to at least give the backs an opportunity. Give Blue a hole to see. Give Milton an extra second to throw. Because you talked about Isaiah when they had a little bit of time,
They could deliver.
They could deliver, and these receivers, they're good.
Yes.
But
Anytime.
Vic Fangio's going to figure, hey, how do I make this offensive line? How do I run some stunts? How do I get these guys off something they have not seen before? So for me, it starts with the Rams, and we know whether it's vanilla or French vanilla, the Rams are going to sit up here and be physical with you, and so meet the challenge.
I have to add on to it. It's so hard just to pick one person. I picked 2, obviously. I'm gonna pick 2 more.
Okay.
I went to the DNs. Now I'm coming to the interior. Right. We know that the interior defensive line has been a topic of discussion for some years now for the Cowboys. We obviously know who the starters are going to be. Most likely is going to be Osa Digizua with the brand new paycheck, and then you brought in Solomon Thomas. Those are your 2 tried and true guys that you can trust. Behind them, you have the Mozzie Smith, who's your first round pick from 3 years ago now. What's he going to do? Yeah. You also have Jay Toia, right? What's he going to do? Yeah. He reminds me of Gilbert Brown when I see him out there with the pads on, the big body.
Grave digger.
Yeah, exactly. But can those guys stop the run?
Yeah.
Right? Mozzie, he's at the point of his career now where that timer, regardless if you're a first-round pick or you're a 7th-round pick, if the team's invested in you, you have to show something. You have to show.
Do we believe he can? Or is he what he is at this point?
Listen, I have my sentiments.
Yeah.
I have my sentiments, but just to give him respect, and coming up to this year, these 3 games,
I'll give you that.
These 3 games are important for him to disprove what everybody's beliefs are about him to this point. And you can say, oh, it's not a regular season. This is his regular season. Now, this is people are asking questions about, why isn't Micah getting paid and all this? Listen, I understand it from both ends, from the player standpoint and from the business standpoint. I need to see what I have. Do I need, if I'm the Joneses, right, and I'm the upper management, do I have that position taken care of? If not,
talk about D tackle.
Yes.
Yeah.
If not, I need to look at my bank account and figure out how I can go fill that void, right? So there's a lot of moving parts. Right now, you have 2 interior defensive linemen that you are confident with.
Right.
Behind them, who?
Bill Parcells used to quote Tom Landry, and he said, all right, by year 3, we got to see something.
Yep.
And it's interesting. When you said that, I was like, yeah, he was around Belichick, who learned from Parcells, and that's the thing. It's year 3, and people can say, well, it's his 3rd coordinator. Hey, it's time to show something. And Mozzie, when we interviewed him, Nick, the other day, and I said, you've been out here, so he said the right things. Saying isn't doing. We have to see it.
Yeah.
And I don't care how vanilla they are. Nick, you talked about trench work.
Yep.
You got to show something here. And it needs to start on Saturday.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no more excuses. There's no more this or that. Show something. Because if not, Isaiah, you're right. This schedule and the teams they're playing, if you can't stop, we know what Philly's going to do. You know what's coming. Game 1, you know what's coming. And if Mozzie can't be a contributor and help out, that's going to be a problem. If they're going to be a team that wants to compete for a playoff spot and get back into the playoffs, Mozzie Smith has to be a big part of the equation. He has to be a contributing factor for this football team on defense.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about wanting to be physical, it starts with the guys at the spine of the defense, especially defensively, and it begins with Mozzie Smith. That's the first guy you run into when you run down that spine. And what was the quote he had the other day when we were talking to him? It was like, is this going to be a breakout year for you? He said something along the lines of, I don't have any other choice, or like, when else am I going to do it? So he at least knows that there's some urgency, that there's some pressure around what his spot looks like. But the thing about the NFL right now at the defensive tackle position, let's say the Cowboys moved on from Mozzie Smith at the end of camp. They're not going to. But let's say that they did. He'd get picked up and he would play somewhere. That's how bad the defensive tackle position is around the league. Now, it's not to give any excuses to this team because they had a first-round pick there and they picked it on a guy that has not performed to the guys that were picked behind him at his position. But, there's a lot of teams that are in similar straits. But for Mozzie Smith, when you factor in the draft pick value, when you factor in the experience he's had here now, and a defensive line coach that has put a lot of effort and tension into him this training camp, you want to see more. You have to see more. You have to see more.
You have to. It is year 3. We need to see something here. Let's get our break in here. Isaiah, you mentioned something about Micah Parsons that I want to dive into next when we come back. Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star Telegram, Isaiah Stanback, Dallas Cowboys NFL Network. I'm Newy Scruggs. This is the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Altec Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alteclansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Altec Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Media Mash.
You are in the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio. I'm Newy Scruggs. We got Isaiah Stanback. How many Emmys you up for here at the end of the month, man?
Only 2, man. I put in 3, man, but I'm only got nominated for 2. I'm mad right now.
We'll be there. We'll get one.
Nick, you nominated 2, right?
I'm up for one.
There we go, baby.
Documentary.
Okay, documentary.
Nice.
The Cowboys do really well.
Sweeps.
The Cowboys
Clean
do
sweeps.
really well. Who's the competition? I already know you already looked at. Who are you competing against?
Got a couple other Cowboys documentaries. We got a Mavericks documentary, I think, and then A&M made one too.
Okay.
But, I've scouted the competition.
You already got your outfit picked out?
I do not. That's a problem.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm taking my mama. I just figured that out yesterday,
Nice.
so it's gonna be me and my mama in Echo Lounge. It's gonna be a good time.
See, I got to figure out who I'm taking. I
your
take my
first one?
wife the first year.
It is my first one.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's my first one.
I take my wife, then I take my mom.
Yeah.
This will be my 3rd appearance, so I got to figure out who I'm rolling with that time.
Yeah.
Makes it hard, but you taking the moms. That's good. Your choice, man.
Yeah.
Good choice, bro.
So hopefully there's not a practice. You got the day off. You tell your boss like, hey, I'm on this day. I need
Yeah, I told him regardless.
told him.
Well, I don't think there's going to be a practice that day, but hopefully not.
Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Yeah.
And Isaiah last year was the wheelbarrow guy.
Bruh.
Because there was a practice that he just kept coming up there and accepting awards for Drew and everybody else. Like, man, who got the wheelbarrow? Take all these Emmys back here. The Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys.
Yeah, because they had the open practice night that night last year.
They did. So you were up there. I was like, Isaiah, back here again and again.
I got my steps in that day.
Yes, you did. Yeah, you made a lot of speeches for
Yeah, a lot of
and thankfully you made your own as well. So Nick, is going to be good. I remember when we got to see Kyle Yeomans win his first one. I gave him a big hug off the stage, and Isaiah too. So it was pretty cool, man. So good luck. But the Cowboys always do well at the Lone Star Emmys, and that's going to be the 25th. At Echo Lounge right across from Dallas Mavericks practice facility. All right, back to the Cowboys here. And you spoke, Isaiah, about one Micah Parsons here. You played in the National Football League. You played for the Cowboys, played for the Patriots. You've seen contract situations happen, and you definitely have seen them here. You said, hey, you're the belief this is going to get done.
Yeah, it's going to get done. I mean, there's no question about it. This is all posturing. This is all this is how negotiations go down in 2025. You have Mr. Jones, who's obviously had his fair share of these. Seemingly, it's every single year. That is going to be the case even going into next year. You guys can expect the same thing with Tyler Smith. If George Pickens wants to stick around, he has a good year. You got two big names that you're going to have to figure that out next year. So get used to it, Cowboys Nation. But from the player standpoint, you have never seen a player, what do they call it, a lock in or a stand in, whatever you want to refer to it as. Hold in, and be this bold with it. Right, so I think Jerry Jones, and you've heard Jerry Jones talk about his respect for Micah Parsons. You've heard Jerry Jones talk about how smart Micah Parsons is. You heard him talk about how he is a unique individual and he respects him as a business. All this stuff, you're seeing it. And Micah is going about his business. What people don't see is Micah's in meetings. What people don't see is Micah's in walkthroughs. What people don't see is Micah's still doing his workouts. He's still doing his walkthroughs. He's still doing all the things that you would do except for practicing.
Nick, it was what White Cotton say about that yesterday. He mentioned, go ahead and
I had asked him about what value has Micah provided in these meetings by still being here, and he said he's been great. He said whether it's him being like, hey, I see this, like, hey, keep an eye on this tackle doing this, and he said he's really put his arm around some of the younger guys. He wouldn't dive into names, but Shadi did last week, and he talked about Ezeraku and how Micah has really been able to help him here in his rookie camp and help kind of guide him along. But whenever you talk to the coaching staff, I mean, it's been nothing but great reviews about what Micah has provided while he's been here, since he hasn't been on the field.
So I got to ask you this, Isaiah, because you're over there working the NFL Network, and Nick and I, we as media members, we have frustrations at times as we watch some of the national people who push these narratives. And you're like you don't know because you're not there. So how do you go about educating your audience and even just some of the producers when they want to come up with the Cowboy storylines about what the real is because you're here?
No, I'm every time I go to the network, I'm fighting on behalf of the Cowboys organization, and it's because obviously I have more insight, but I also understand it from, like I said, both perspectives. Most people take the fan route because that's what they know. I understand it from the fan, the player, and the business, so I'm able to have this different perspective about how Jerry goes about his business, and I also understand how hard it is to put together a winning roster. And people think that you could just show up and get to the divisional game, and people want to dog the Cowboys about how they haven't been there. Look at the division, right? Look at how challenging it is. In the last 15 years, you've had 4 trips to the Super Bowl out of your division. Is that correct? You know what I'm saying? Your division, not even, that's difficult that you're facing every year. So putting together a roster, having these guys at the top of their pay brackets, it's tough to put together a roster. So I'm always fighting on their behalf, but I educate my crew, in terms of NFL Network, whenever I see them, give them whatever behind the scenes information that I have to help them change their perspective, because they are in a position to push the narrative forward to the public eye, because the public, they receive the information from us. They're not here seeing the things that we see. Even in regards to Micah, there's things that we see that we can't always speak on, but we have that back end knowledge, right? So we're able to speak from it logically and not emotionally.
So I'm going to point this out and both of you give me your thoughts. With the Tuesday practice, and the families were over there hanging out, and one gentleman came over and talked and said, "Oh, this is Micah's mom." And then I'm thinking to myself, well, if you want to be traded, you want to be doing what family wouldn't be here. Then I'm just saying to myself, like, this is like the Myles Garrett thing. I want to be traded. How much? Okay, thank you. That's my thought.
I'm glad we were able to speed this up.
Right. I was thinking, if you were done, I don't want to be here anymore, you wouldn't bring moms out here and your family, would you?
You would not. You would not. And that's why I said, like,
if you're really done, like, we're done.
If you're done, he wouldn't be here. We've heard Micah say that, he protects his money, his cheddar, his paper, all that kind of stuff. So he's not going to get fined by not being here. But he also has a bolt of confidence that he is going to get the payday because he is here. He's present. The coaches are still rolling him through walkthroughs, all these kind of things. Like, he's going to get his money. There's no question. He just understands this is a part of the business. And Mr. Jones understands this is a part of the business. Mr. Jones is not afraid to talk to the media. He's not afraid to answer these hard questions. He's not afraid to remind everybody that he's in a position of power and that they have a current contract. It's going to get done, y'all. You have to say what you got to say. You have to do what you have to do in order for something to get done. But ultimately, his pockets are going to be heavy. He's got to wear some nice little denim. Say, hold that money up.
The only question I do have, though, I agree with you, Isaiah. I think it gets done. The only question I do have, though, is if it's not done by week 1, does he hold out of games? And I think that's probably a concern we would have as of right now.
I don't foresee it going that far. I think the Joneses will take it up to that point. We saw it with Dak. when
Literally up to that point.
Literally on game day, right? So it might get to that point, but Micah's in shape. Micah's in form. Micah knows the communication. He knows the play calls. He knows all the stuff. So to be able to insert him, he is, out of everybody who's had to get their deal done over the recent years, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Zach Martin, those 3 guys in particular, Micah's necessity to be in practice is the least of all those guys.
Let's be honest, he don't practice anyway.
But
let's be honest.
But as a defensive end,
yeah,
I don't need to practice because I can speak to or watch film to communicate with my guys. As an offensive lineman, I need to work as a unit. As a receiver, I need to have timing with my quarterback. As a quarterback, I need to have timing with my receivers. Micah is the least I don't even know how to say it. He doesn't need to be in practice.
You 2 guys are too young to remember, but I remember when Lawrence Taylor missed a whole training camp, and I think the first game was on Monday Night Football, and he got on the field, and he just put on a show.
Yep.
And it was like, this is, and I can't remember when I was like, this is going to be a problem because more people can say, I don't need to be at camp because you just watched Lawrence Taylor put on an absolute show. And Micah Parsons has ability to put on an absolute show without having to be here day to day in camp. So he's that kind of football player, special player here. So Nick, who signs first? Trey Hendrickson of Cincinnati, Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders, or Micah Parsons?
That's a good one.
All 3 right now have asked for trades.
I would probably go with Hendrickson because I think Cincinnati has finally got their handle around everything else that they were dealing with this offseason, and now it's full focus on Hendrickson. Hendrickson has been back at camp. I would assume that one gets done first.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going to say Micah, Hendrickson, and I think Scary Terry, that's my dude. I think he gets traded.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he genuinely gets traded. I don't think Cincinnati has the money that Hendrickson wants.
That's fair.
So I think that might go into the season for them to see that, hey, we need this production. Micah's going to get done before the season starts because there's no way that Mr. Jones allows the Cowboys to take the field on opening night on NBC against the Eagles. Without Micah Parsons, it's not happening. Listen, it's not happening. That's where. And I think Scary Terry. I think they're legit beefing. Yeah. I think that is legit beef.
All right, guys, this was fun. I got to go catch a flight here.
Oh, private.
Yeah, I got to
catch flights, not feelings.
Private on American. American, private American. Yeah. Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star Telegram, Isaiah Stanback, Dallas Cowboys, and NFL Network, both Emmy-nominated guys right here. Hopefully,
hold on. Were you recording us this whole time?
I was not, but I can. You want me to do that real quick? I got you.
I'm Newy Scruggs. Thanks to Chris Beam and everybody who helped out right here. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!